Shipwreck by Richard Platt, Part 4. Valuable cargoes have always lured swimmers brave enough to dive down to explore sunken wrecks. In ancient Greece, divers kept a third of the value of anything that they recovered from wrecks 12 feet down. Their share increased to half for wrecks twice as deep. Since few people can hold their breath for longer than 2 minutes, as early as the 4th century BC, divers carried a supply of air trapped inside a barrel or a bell. In 1679, Italian scientist Giovanni Borelli suggested prolonging dives by refreshing the air in the diving bell using a simple pump. For the next 250 years, divers used pumped air techniques to reach shipwrecks as deep as 200 feet. This was what the first diving barrel would have looked like. And here's a pump it to pump the air down. And some of the somewhat more modern advances in diving. To swim through a wreck as free as a fish, this was always the dream of divers exploring the seabed. In 1943, a French naval officer, Jacques Yves Cousteau, made the dream a reality. His aqualung used a novel regulator to control the pressure and flow of air from a cylinder on the diver's back. When the diver breathed in, the regulator opened to allow air to flow into the mouthpiece. The freedom of movement provided by the aqualung, or scuba, self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, diving equipment, led to the discovery and exploration of many new wrecks. Here's a picture of a very modern scuba gear. Instead of having to ride down in a wooden barrel, they just carry this little tube of oxygen on their backs. Sinking below the waves, a wrecked ship slips out of sight and perhaps out of reach. The ocean filters out the sun's light and heat, leaving a cold, dark world. The deeper a wreck sinks, the more water presses down on it from above. Deep wreck sites are dangerous places for divers because the water pressure dissolves nitrogen gas in a diver's blood, causing narcosis, a kind of drunkenness. Divers must surface slowly or risk developing decompression sickness, or the bends, as the nitrogen forms bubbles in the veins. A wreck deeper than 330 feet is beyond the reach of scuba divers. But divers in rigid suits can descend to 2,000 feet, and submarines can go even deeper. This is a rigid suit. Look, the only thing they can move is their arms and legs a little bit. And here's a very, very deep wreck. And here's a submarine. Doesn't look like we think of a submarine looking, because this one is designed just for treasures, for exploring wrecks. One of the most effective ways to locate a wreck is to ask fishermen where their nets get snagged. A more systematic approach, however, is to search dusty marine archives for the ship's last known position. If this reveals roughly where the wreck sank, technology can narrow the search. Sonar, or sound navigation ranging, surveys the contours of a wreck. Side scan sonar surveys large areas of the seabed using sound waves to produce a clearly definable shadow photograph. Magnetometers create magnetic maps of the seabed. These show the location of metal objects such as cannons, even if deep mud covers them. Marine archaeologists plan their dives by using the charts that these instruments provide. Raising the wreck and cargo is obviously part of the task ahead. It is just as important, however, to record where each object rested. So before surfacing with their finds, divers spend time mapping much of their time underwater, measuring, mapping, sketching, and taking photographs. Thanks for listening, and join us tomorrow for our final section of the book Shipwreck.